Welcome to the Looking Glass. Today we're going to learn about cloning, the resurrection stone, the seal of Solomon. Do you have the seal of God? Are we aware of celestial ships? And have you ascended to a place that is not earthbound like a tree? Let us take a look at the symbologies of Rebecca's piece. This is the blueprint of her soul. This is her past, her present, and her future. And this future is giving her a calling to leave the physical realm and her physical ideals behind and begin adopting the process or school of energizing your double, your higher self, your spirit animal, your spirit guide, and accessing the angelic realms. This will beckon or call you to get into magic and the language of God. So, Rebecca, you're a tree and you have a stamp, and there are many beings in front of you. There's an American flag at 9 o'clock falling like a quilt over someone's lap, leaving a world behind. There is a bearded man at 7 o'clock, 2 bearded men. The symbologies in your piece that really draw my attention are the tables. There is a table of people seated at 6 o'clock, cats, animals, and at the top above your head are humans. They're seated around a celestial table, and one of them is an oracle with her eyes closed, holding an oracle ball. Now, at 1 o'clock, there's a person with a boat on their head, and hearts broken being put back together. There's an owl and a flying owl. Your second piece reflects two worlds. The world below is the cosmic turtle. You can see the turtle on the boat. This is this realm, the physical realm. And it's a smaller boat. There's a man inside the boat with a heart and a mask in the water and a mermaid tipping the boat over. And yet, this male is brought up into the world of the angels, and you again have a stamp of sorts in your hand, and you are a stairway in your other. There is a man, a bearded man that looks kind of like what Spirit told me is Enoch, holding a resurrection stone, and you are in a celestial ship that is above the realm of the earth, of the world cosmic turtle. Again, we have the female with the ship on her head at 1 o'clock. This female looks like Maleficent, and we would have assumed that it was the crescent moon on her head, but it is not. It is a ship. And this ship is very significant. Makes you wonder about the ancient pictures of Moses having horns. And maybe historians miscategorized the horns on Moses' head where they thought it was the moon, but it's actually a celestial ship in the heavens that is connected to angels. Your crown or head has a crystal, and there are many crystals. So you come from another world, a world of crystals, a world of crystal skulls even. So there's going to be some secret messages. This is a picture from Armenia of a woman holding a stone or a stamp like you, with a bearded man like you, wearing a dress like you. And this is one of the most ancient carvings on earth. And this is supposedly you. There is no description of this. I've looked everywhere. But Armenia is the home of the Ark, A-R, Armenia. The god of Armenia is A-R, like the Ark, and like archangels. And so let's get into goddesses of the seal of God, the resurrection stone, and cloning. So there's a goddess named Ambika. She's the goddess of the universe, and her father and other connections are connected to gods who say that any blood that is dropped on the ground will create a clone. And so it ended up into a story called the Midas touch, where whatever you touch turns to gold. But it's a story of maintaining consciousness, and it gets deep because it may be a literal physical cloning, but it's also about cloning your double self and calling forward spirit guides and animals. And there's even anime that my daughter watches that talks about creating a shadow self that is a clone of yourself. So let's talk about this. So this god, his name was Raktabija. He had a boon that whenever a drop of his blood fell on the ground, a duplicate of himself would be born at that spot. He for whom each drop of blood is a seed. I find it very interesting that these stories have letters in their name that has letters in your name. So your reading brought me to the Sigillum Dei. It's the seal of God. It's the symbol of the living God, called by John Dee. It's a magical diagram. It's composed of 2 circles, a pentagram and heptagons. It was a magical amulet. It allowed initiated magicians to have power and connection to the angelic realm. And this is what it looks like. It's very specific. It has angels' names. It has the 7 names of God. And it when you put it on a table, which you have these 2 tables in your art, you can access the angelic realm and find truths that lead you to grow your spirit past that of the common man. So you can see each layer has the 7 names of God, the 7 spirits of God, or the angel names, the names of the sons of light and the daughters of the daughters. People even wear these around their necks. Now they are considered a seal, and they're very important, and I think you should look into it. Look at the images and just from afar. How does this make you feel when you look at these amulets and this seal? To understand the seal, let's go to John Dee. John Dee was an astronomer and an advisor to Elizabeth. He studied alchemy, divination, hermetics, and philosophy. Notice his mustache and beard, because this energy is with you and around you and a communication to you in your reading. The Seal of Solomon. The Seal of Solomon is a metaphor. It is an allegory of awakenings. Now, they are knowledge. You must possess this knowledge as a memory, really, of these seals, the numerologies, the names, everything, so that you understand the voice of God and how to enter into secret doorways and into secret celestial ships. Like this Seal of Solomon reflects a water world, below a reflection, and above is the sun world. You can see the letter M on his beard and the letter W in the reflection. If you look very closely, you can see a hidden female in his beard, as the female is the invisible voice and the male represents physical reality. But what does it mean to step into the Temple of Solomon? Let's research a little further. Let's learn about Enochian magic. This comes from Enoch. Enochian magic has an Enochian language, and this language was delivered directly from angels. And this language is called the Enochian script. And in this script are truths that led them to secret doorways and secret magic. It reflects the supernatural. John Dee went to a scryer or crystal gazer, which is what I am, which acted as an intermediary between himself and angels. John Dee went to many scryers, but he was unsatisfied with their abilities. But then he went to a particular scryer who could actually speak the voice of spirit, and he was impressed with his abilities. The magic of Enoch is described as the tables of Enoch, like the tables in your art, Rebecca. They are called voices or callings, natural keys, gates of understanding, the angelic calls or keys. The great table of the quarters, so it's all about tables. And notice that there are 48 angelic keys, and you have the number 48 on your piece, on your tree. A table is made of wood, and you are the embodiment of a tree in your piece. So there are, I believe, 5 books connected to the magic of Enoch: earthly knowledge, the angelic knowledge. There's a 6th book called Liber Logeth, that it's the book of the speech of God, the sacred book of the mysteries. It's the book of Enoch. And so when you're looking at the symbology of your reading, you're going to notice, like the Seal of Solomon, the world of the physical reality is a small boat, and the cosmic turtle is under the boat. The celestial boat is huge, like a ship in the sky. So the 48 angelic keys is what is being presented to you, Rebecca. The book of earthly science, the aid and victory, the mystic haptarchy, and invocations of the good angels. So I believe that you're being called to a higher calling, a celestial calling, the voice of the angels, the work of God, the understanding of God being frequency and sound and sacred geometry, and many things that are kept hidden from the masses by the Vatican. So the 7th book of the mysteries is when a true and faithful relation begins. There are 91 parts of the earth, and there are 48 calls or keys in this book. And there's a watchtower. The 2 pillars of Enochian magic is connected to the 2 pillars of Solomon, and the 2 pillars are also in the Bible. So the Enochian model of the universe is depicted by Dee as a square called the Great Table. And this Great Table looks like a compass. It's connected to the Freemasons. And the square table has 4 elemental tablets, incorporating the tablet of union. So the essence of Enochian magic involves the recitation of one or more of 19 angelical keys, which are referred to as calice. These keys are a series of rhetorical exhortations which function as evocations when read in the Enochian language. They are used to effect the opening of gates. The first 18 keys are used to open the realms of the elements and sub-elements which are mapped. The 19th key is used to open the 30 ethereals. The ethereals are conceived as forming a map of the entire universe in the form of concentric rings, which expand outward from the innermost to the outermost ether. So when you're holding this circle in your hand, it's connected to this ring, and you're opening gates. It gets deep. To tell you the truth, I've never heard of this, so your piece is really opening my eyes. The angels of the 4 corners are symbolized by the elemental tablets, 4 large magical word square tables, the Great Table. The well-known Enochian angels are drawn from the elemental tablets of the Great Table. So the American flag on the woman's lap, that was a table of the United States, is a symbol that the table has been not used. It's old, and there needs to be a group of people who call in the great work of God, and you're one of them. You're being called to do this. So each of the 4 tablets are elements of earth, air, fire, and water. And this is connected to the 24 elders of the book of Revelation of St. John. So you're going to have to get into the study of opening these books and getting into geometry and a language and call forward because you're being called. The entire universe, visible and invisible, is depicted as teeming with living intelligences. And this is why the elemental tablets are divided into 4 sections by a figure known as the Great Cross. The Great Central Cross consists of 2 central vertical columns of the elemental tablet. The Black Cross, representing spirit, completes the representation of the 5 traditional elemental attributes used in magic: earth, air, water, fire, and spirit. So the table of union is derived from within the great central cross of the great table. Now, the table in your piece, the 2 tables in your piece, are small. This is a communication to you from spirit that there's a lot of work to be done before the table becomes great to you. The table below you reflects spirit with animal, and the table above you reflects the physical world. So you'll want to get into sigils because they are numerology and geometry. I feel like I need to do this too because this is so fascinating. And these sigils can be traced onto the great tablet of earth. I often talk about the magical square of the sun and the numerology coming to 111. So the holy table is connected to the crystal ball. This is why you have a female in your piece holding a crystal ball. It's used for scrying and the 7 planetary talismans. And this is a circular tablet inscribed with the seal of God. And this is what I'm seeing in your piece. These tables are circular and your seal is a circle. So I believe that ancient depiction of that woman with a seal is talking about this resurrection stone as well. This holy table does not directly concern elemental or etherical workings. Angels found on the holy table are not called forth in these operations. I don't know what they're talking about here. You definitely, it's a process. You will be contacted by a higher self to get into the inner workings of the voice of God and the voice of the angels to do the great work. You will become like a right hand of God. And it will take dedication and studying and clearing. But don't worry, you have a spirit animal. And if you are in the ark, which you are, then you are being taught the Armenian truth from Armenia. And these truths will set you free. But you will become more than you. So you will have to surrender your physical understandings. You may be called to become a scryer, like myself, in order to really work the muscle of the voice of God and how God is all symbology. I found it interesting that some of these diagrams and talismans or seals were made of beeswax. And you have a stamp that looks like something that you would stamp with beeswax. And the man on your ship looks like Enoch, and this is called the large topaz. It's a stone. You may be asked to gaze into crystals, ink, fire, or even a blank TV screen. This is you becoming a scryer. This is why you were attracted to my energy. I kind of giggle about this because the Freemasons are a male-dominated organization, and it's about time that the female has the opportunity to get into this as well. So you're going to understand that you have a body of light. This is your double self. If you have been born again, you have a double self, and you have to learn how to operate your soft body, your light body. I often talk about how to protect and energize your light body. Your light body has to be fed. It could also be destroyed. So please study the mysterious lost language of the angels and the Enochian magical 48 keys, which is the number 48 on your tree. And please don't take these words lightly either. There is a chance we can lose our divinity and our crown simply by ignoring or neglecting our double self. because yes, you have been rebirthed and you have a self that has a job for you. So, the secret clone armies, ships, and vehicle productions. The ship that you are in is a celestial ship. It is a ship that hovers above the physical world. It's a spiritual ship that is made up of light beings like angels. When I saw your piece and I saw you on the ship and I saw the boy, I began to remember my daughter watching anime where they call forward a secret animal with a hand sigil, a hand movement. And it's funny how the ark is full of animals and how you can call forward the energy of an animal to protect you as an ally. Many shamans know about accessing your ally, your spiritual ally, by taking peyote buttons or mushrooms. So the idea of cloning, I think isn't about cloning the physical, but it could be, because I remember doing a reading for the Queen of England, and she had a labyrinth. And inside this labyrinth were a bunch of people that looked like clones. So if you are called, like Enoch was brought up with God in a ship, and you are bringing people up in a ship, are they actually physically being brought up in the ship and cloned? Because what I'm seeing is that they get a seal, and that you're giving them a seal, the seal of Solomon, the 48 seals, the 48 keys. And they will not experience death like Enoch. So this is you, so you're going to find these answers and figure out whether we are just going to bounce our consciousness into our celestial body at death, or like Enoch, we actually get brought up into the mothership above earth, where we fulfill God's requirement of us to do what? To open gateways, open portals, to be the voice of God, the hands and feet of God, to be fishermen of men. Notice that you fished out a human. This is called a master of the net. The master of the net catches human beings who are ready to ascend and gives them the seal, possibly to clone their light body, maybe to be born again, possibly to clone their physical body. I don't know. So the king or the old man around 7 o'clock has a seal with a cross in it. And this cross reflects the black cross. And the black cross is about the 4 elements that was being spoken of. And so the symbologies in your piece are quite grand. And so you are being grown into this angel that is a celestial angel. If you have the boat on your head, like Maleficent looks like horns, I don't think it's horns. I don't think Moses had horns. I think it's this boat. And it's a depiction that you come from a celestial ship, a place of, you are a master of the net. You are becoming an initiate, and you are being called. Whether you actually obey or not will determine whether you maintain consciousness after death or not, whether you get pulled up like Enoch or not. Notice you have your hand with the number 5, and you have electricity coming out. This is about you using hand movements to call things forward in your future. And the broken heart being brought back together is a reflection of being balanced, male and female, connecting flesh with spirit, being born again, and connecting and manifesting the crystallization of spirit within the flesh. And this is why the crystal is above your head. And this crystallization is the Christ, the Christos. And when we become the Christ consciousness, then we become a master. Not everyone will become a master because they are dominated by traditional religion, which repeats in their mind over and over not to get into sorcery. But alas, Jesus said you are meant to be as powerful as him and more, and the oracle was written in the Bible 23 times. If any man speak, let them speak as the voice of the oracle. So yes, it is not for everyone, but if you are called, I would say I would jump on that boat, and I would have faith and trust. The manifestation of hearing the voice of God, trusting it, obeying it, and it makes you the right hand of God. It makes you one of the spirits of God, a fragment of God. So you can see the sword and the stone symbol, but the sword also looks like a fishing pole. This is fishermen being of catching men, like Jesus said. There's a little ladybug around 11 o'clock. This is Mother Mary. She's the invisible mother. You cannot see her, but she's there. The female in the water is a dolphin. She reminds me of Ariel. Ariel wanted to experience being in love. Ariel was androgynous. And think of Ariel, A-R, from Armenia, and the Ark, A-R, Ark. Right? Armageddon, A-R, how great thou art, A-R. And this Armenian energy, they had these hats that look like yours, pointy hats. So that's in your blood. Because it's in your blood, you have this ability, you have forgotten. Why? Because of the flood. The flood messed up the blood. And the blood has to be reignited and awoken again. So Spirit brought you answers that will lead you to a doorway. And it's up to you now to indulge in these answers for you and to study and to awaken and to become a holy grail, a holy vessel for God. So thank you, Rebecca. I have learned a lot. And if you would like a reading, go to forestfairy.com.